You can find out most of what you need about the proposals in Chapter 22 of your book, starting on page 538. And the tasks involved in this exercise of preparing a proposal are, number 1, you will be spelling out a problem. Number 2, you will outline the benefits of you coming up with a solution. Number 3, you will offer that solution. Number 4, you will think about and address ahead of time any anticipated objections. And number 5, you will convince your audience to act upon your proposal. That is your whole goal, is to convince your audience to accept your proposal. There are a couple of proposal types. There are 2 types and there are 2 styles. So the 2 types are solicited and unsolicited. Solicited says that somebody has asked for a proposal. Either your supervisor, maybe a customer did, maybe you went online searching for something and you found a request for proposal. So that is a solicited proposal. Unsolicited is you sitting around and thinking, wow, this is a real problem for us, but I think I have a solution. So this is not something that somebody else requests, but something that you come up with. For the most part in this assignment, I think we're going to hit some of both, some solicited and some unsolicited. So we'll talk more about those as they go. But I'm a big fan of those who choose to go the unsolicited route. Can't wait to see some of those. As far as style goes, we have that informal and formal. Informal is an email, which would be a very short proposal, a memo format, or a letter, business letter. And again, the difference is if you're talking within your organization, you'll use memo. If you're going outside of your organization, you'll use a business letter. And then for formal style, we're talking about a document that has front matter. That is, it has a cover page, a table of contents. It may have an acknowledgments page, all of that extra stuff. And then it gets to the proposal text, which is the bulk of the document. And then it finishes up with end matter, which may be an index, or it may be several attachments. So those kind of things. What we're aiming for this assignment, because of the length of it, it's a 1,500 word assignment. We are aiming for informal memo or business letter. So it's the longer informal document, but I do not want a cover page. I do not want a table of contents. I don't want you to waste your time on those things, because I really, really want you to focus on that job of persuasion. Categories. I have 3 major categories here that came out of your book. There are planning proposals, research proposals, and sales proposals. But I want you to know that those are kind of very soft categories. Not everybody uses that terminology. Not everybody thinks of them in these big 3 buckets. Also, I want you to know that they are not mutually exclusive. For example, you may come up with a proposal that kind of falls between 2 of these. It's not exactly one, not exactly the other. So these are big soft things. For us, the categories that we're talking about here are just for us to consider what proposals can involve. So in a planning proposal, which I hope to see a lot of, you are going to probably offer a solution to a problem. You may be proposing an improvement to something that's an existing condition or an existing situation. And it may not be, especially if it's an improvement, you may not need such a long introduction section. Research proposals, and the book says they are also known as grant proposals. I still think of these as slightly different, but let's go with the book right now. In a research proposal, you're asking for approval of some kind of study. In a grant proposal, you are asking for specific funding. That's pretty much it. That's kind of the difference between them. And the proposal guidelines are often set by the funding agency. In my experience, grant proposals are used in the workplace in 2 different ways. Number 1, they're used by professors. Teachers especially in a university setting, are really, really big into writing grant proposals because they are needing funding, they are needing permission, they are needing help with something, and it's usually a research project. The other place you'll find grant proposals is in nonprofit organizations. Again, they don't get their money from selling or providing services. They get their money a lot from grants. So a grant proposal falls in this category. That's why I am not a fan of it for this assignment. When I began teaching this class and I received the materials, the default assignment for the major project was to have all of my students write a grant proposal. I'm just not a fan because I don't believe you're going to see that in the workplace. Sales proposals we won't do in this class, but you need to know what they are. It's just the offering of services or products. This may be the one that you see more than any other in the workplace. It's just hard to do in a class like this. So they may be solicited. For example, you may be asked by a customer to put in a sales proposal, or you may be asked to provide a proposal for performing services. But they can also be unsolicited, and that would be along the lines of a cold call, or you proposing something, to sell them a product, and you have not been asked to do that. So they could be solicited or unsolicited. And they also might be part of a competitive bidding process. Now, I've been involved in a lot of these in the past, and that is where a company who's doing work for larger organizations and sometimes for government organizations are asked to submit very specific proposals with really tight guidelines, and that is to help the recipients of the proposals be able to compare them adequately. It's like putting them in categories so that you have apples and apples and oranges and oranges. Otherwise, people can be all over the place with their proposals, and it's hard for you as the recipient to compare them. So a lot of times when you see sales proposals that are part of a competitive bidding process, the proposal format and requirements is very strict, and it's given to you.